Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Log Show here on YouTube. And boy, do we have so much to talk about today as NFL free agency is underway. Day one of the illegal tampering period started tomorrow, which is all of the verbal signings, all of that. Obviously, stuff can change and has happened in the past in many other sports. There's the famous one in basketball of the Clippers practically kidnapping DeAndre Jordan after he agreed to sign with the Mavericks and he ended up going back to the Clippers. So none of this is official for a little bit while until the new league year starts. But as of right now, all of these seem to be written in stone with verbal agreements. So many big signings. Not only that, the WBC has been underway for the past week, and boy has USA Baseball been proving that this is a dream team together. Some struggles early in games though with some of those starters, so we'll talk about that a little a little bit. Not only that, in the Big East, in college basketball, we talked about it is the month of March, a great month for the college basketball season, which means conference tournaments are underway. My favorite conference tournament, the one that I'm attached to, the one that this confetti is from last year, is the Big East tournament, as my alma mater, St. John's, is the sole holder of first place of the Big East going into the tournament, as UConn was upset by Marquette on the last day of the regular season, and boy was I happy about that one. So we got to see St. John's get back-to-back regular season Big East championships. Shout out Rick Pitino, shout out Zuby Ejiofor. They will be in stone in St. John's for a while now for how they have rebuilt that program. And major news in the UFC, as last Saturday during the boring BMF title fight that I will also talk about. I'll only talk about that fight. The rest of the card I really don't want to talk about. I barely even want to talk about that joke of a belt, but it's newsworthy. But what was announced that night was UFC America 250 at the White House, headlined by Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, and rumor has it that that one was decided on the day of. Not only that, you have Alex Stoneham Pereira trying to become the first ever 3-weight champion as he fights for the interim belt. We have Sean O'Malley on the card, Michael Chandler on the card, Mauricio Rufy on the card, a lot of big names, Bo Nickel, a lot of big names on the card. Interesting to talk about that we will is no Conor McGregor, no John Jones, neither of which are appearing at UFC White House. Two big names that I think everybody wanted at least one of them on the card. And I mean, we got none. That really sucks. But nonetheless, it has been announced. The biggest card of probably the UFC's history has now been announced in UFC America 250 that will take place June 26th on President Donald Trump's birthday at the White House lawn. All of that sounds so cool to see what's going to happen there. UFC fighters walking out of the Oval Office. It's very interesting to see how that whole situation is going to happen and all of that. So it's going to be fun, in my opinion, to really watch that event. I can't wait for it. But we are mainly a football show. I know I got a lot of baseball decorations up, but we are mainly a football show, and that does mean that NFL free agency is underway. And how I wanted to do it today, obviously, no Joey Snacks today, which does stink. Shout out Joey Snacks. Thank him for coming on. Trying to set up guests now more often, guys. I have some in the bag, so keep on the lookout for those as I announce those. Possible college football conversations coming up. Possible college basketball conversations coming up. I'm trying to have more people on. MLB conversations, hopefully. With the show being an hour, what you guys will expect, before I get into anything, just to tell you guys with the whole guests and stuff, what you should expect when I have guests on, really, are that it's going to be a whole episode surrounded about what that guest is really focused on. So, I have an old professor I'd love to have on. His name is Tommy Weber, a previous guest back when I was at St. John's. He's a big baseball guy. That would probably be an hour of baseball. few of my friends back from St. John's, big college basketball guys. It'd be a college basketball episode. A couple other people I have in the bag be full college football episodes, stuff like that. So the episodes would surround around the guests most likely or not, depending on how that all goes. But sorry, we got Joey Snacks calling the phones real quick. Oh, yeah, Siri, that's how you feel? I got Siri yelling at me. I got people calling me. Maybe Joey Snacks could have been on today, and that's on me for not asking. Oh, that's bad hosting. That's bad hosting. But NFL free agency is underway, so I do want to start to talk about that. I mean, a major signings. I think a lot of teams, I love to talk about winners and losers is kind of how I set it up. I have 3 winners, 3 losers. I have 2 teams that I have set at that mid-tier, I have 4 winners, 3 losers. Sorry, I did have an extra winner that I liked. But I have 4 winners, 3 losers, 2 teams in that mid-tier where I do feel like that they've made some major moves and improved some holes that they have, but maybe they've lost players, maybe it's only been one move, stuff like that it's not a huge impact that I see majorly impacting the team, but it is a hole that was filled. That's a big signing, a major player going places like that. So the first winner that I have on my list of winners and losers, I'll start with the winners, is I think the biggest winner of the offseason so far this year, who I have as my biggest winner of the offseason, which is the Los Angeles Rams, which is a team that, they at one point last season, they were obviously one of the best teams in the league last season. Such an explosive offense and they lost an NFC Championship game against Seattle Seahawks, where it really felt like the Seahawks were in control of most of that game on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that made an impact on McVay and the coaching staff in the front office there and how they were going to go and approach this offseason. What they went and did was make a lot of major moves into that secondary that I loved, and both of which were the 2 best DBs, 2 star cornerbacks from Kansas City, bringing both of them in, one via trade, one via free agency, but 2 dudes who had made an impact in major games over there in Kansas City, go to Los Angeles, and they want them to do the same over there. They go get Trent McDuffie, which is a huge player, a cornerback who's been a huge part of the Chiefs' defense, been one of the best cornerbacks in the league over the past few years, and then also brings in Jalen Watson on a 3-year, $54 million deal to reunite them after, it looked like they might be separated, but no, they get reunited there in Los Angeles, take their talents from Kansas City to Los Angeles, both of them. And it's 2 big signings, I feel, for Los Angeles, and a hole that they needed when you looked at a game like the Seahawks game. They were dominated defensively, and the Rams, even when they went and won the Super Bowl, since Aaron Donald has retired, they haven't really been a team that you expect to go out there and dominate a game defensively. They've always been, since Matt Stafford was brought in, after that Super Bowl, really, because obviously that Super Bowl, you still have a lot of big players defensively on that team. You have Jalen Ramsey still in his prime. You have Aaron Donald right before he retires. You have Von Miller still in his right at the end of his prime. So you have a lot of major players. You have Bobby Wagner at the end of his prime as well. So like I'm saying, you have a lot of major players defensively on that Super Bowl winning roster. And then that defense kind of started to break apart. And you saw the Rams defense not be as dominant as they were. Yes, they have players like Jared Verse, and they have a lot of their pass rush wise in that front 7. They have a lot of great pieces that I feel around the clock, those great pieces needed help on the back end, though. You didn't really have a show-stopping DB there in Los Angeles. And the one player who I would say was the standout DB of that defense was Cam Curl, and they re-signed him. They brought him back on a 3-year deal as well. So not only did you bring in 2 star DBs who can make a difference, who can shut down some of the best receiving cores in the NFL in Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, but you kept a huge piece breakout piece in the safety Cam Curl last year, who was a huge piece of your defense, a leader of that defense, and honestly the best player on your secondary last year. So when you look at a player like, or when you look at a situation like Los Angeles and what they do, I can't help but sit here and be in awe and be excited to see what the Rams are preparing for next season. Because I think you took a team that was already in Super Bowl contention, a team that already was doing very, very, very well on both sides of the ball, and they only got better. I don't see a lot of ways that they have gotten worse. I think they only have gotten better this offseason in the few moves that they made. They bring back Tyler Higbee. I know he was contemplating retirement, but from what I've read online, at least, because I saw a tweet from the Falcons yesterday that congratulated him on his retirement, but then I was looking it up today and I saw nothing on his retirement. So that really confused me. So there's a chance that maybe Tyler Higbee's retiring. That I was very confused about, and I didn't do deep enough research to really click on what was going on there. But if I'm going to sit here and be completely honest about the Los Angeles Rams, I think that they just made themselves a better team after already having a magnificent season and being Super Bowl contenders. And I think they were I think a lot of people would agree that they were Super Bowl contenders going into this season. So in my opinion, I have the Rams as the best offseason moves. I think they are the current, everyone likes to do the winners and losers. I think they are the current winner of this offseason. I think there's no doubt about it. I think when you look at some other teams that we can count as winners, I do love what the Jets and Giants have done. I won't lie at all there. I do very much love what the Jets and Giants have done. I consider both of them winners. I won't lie. I think that you have on the side of the New York Giants, in this new Harbaugh era, you have now brought in Isaiah Likely on a 3-year deal. You let Bellinger walk, and I think Isaiah Likely is an improvement of the Bellinger type of tight end. And I think he'll have a great connection with Dart. You bring in Jordan Stout, who I think is a great punter and a special teams that really, really, really struggled last year. I expected John Harbaugh to immediately want to make improvements to his special teams. When you look at the Ravens over the past 20 years, they've been a team that consistently has a good special teams unit, has a sneaky return man. They've had Justin Tucker for the past, that was what, 19 years, 18 years that Justin Tucker was in Baltimore before he was released 2 seasons ago, going into last season. You have Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Wow, sorry. But what I was kind of getting to there is I didn't expect John Harbaugh to skimp on free agencies free agent players that would make an impact in special teams, not only on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, but on special teams. A player like bringing back Isaiah Hodgins too even includes in that, because that's a speedy guy who could be a return man if that's in his arsenal. I don't know if Isaiah Hodgins has ever returned punts or kicks before. I've not that clocked into the Giants. I'll be completely honest with you there. But I think he's the style of player that could return punts and kicks if taught and if trained to. I think he's a speedy guy that is able to be elusive in the open field when available. So I don't hate that idea. But not only do the Giants do that, you bring in Tremaine Edmonds after cutting Bobby Okereke. They also re-signed McFadden right before I went live. So that linebacker core that wasn't amazing last year gets a slight improvement in Tremaine Edmonds on a 3-year, $36 million deal, $26 million guaranteed. I think that is a great addition for the New York Giants. And then bringing back Illuminor, I think, is a big move for the New York Giants. I think bringing back a player like Jermaine Illuminor, who may not necessarily have or will I'm trying to find the words to put this in. He may not necessarily fit in what we have seen John Harbaugh offenses of past be. But with Cam Scatterboo and this team expected to be somewhat of a power offense, I do think protecting having someone in that front five who excels on the other side of it as well, like an Illuminor who is, I won't say excels, but is a solid pass protector on the right side, a side that is weaker for the New York Giants, I think is a good move to make. So, yeah, I love that. And on the side of the New York Jets, I think bringing in Minkah Fitzpatrick is an interesting move. I don't necessarily love the move because Minkah didn't necessarily have an all-star season last year. He wasn't necessarily as good as we have seen Minkah Fitzpatrick be in the past in his return to Miami last year. But I think for a 7th-round pick, why not take a shot on it when you were the New York Jets last year? You were a team that had 0 interceptions. He had 1 that would have led the team in interceptions. He is a man who is a 2-time All-Pro. So I think going out there and making a move like that for the New York Jets, I do think is a very, very interesting move. And why not take a shot at it when the defense was as atrocious as it was last year, when the whole team was as atrocious as it was last year? You got to try to make a few splash moves to maybe, Minkah's not the same dude that he was back when he first got traded to Pittsburgh, back in his first stint in Miami. But what you can maybe get out of Minkah Fitzpatrick is not only some solid production on the field, but some production of helping develop younger players that you may bring in with all this abundance of draft picks that the New York Jets have over these next 2 seasons. A player like Minkah Fitzpatrick, who has shown that he can be a star in this league as a 2-time All-Pro, can also show these players the type of work ethic it takes. He could be a player that can help change the culture of the New York Jets. He can help Aaron Glenn finally start to settle in and bring in some guys that maybe not right now will impact on the field necessarily on their stat line, but will help the locker room. Like, Joey Snacks is here in the chat right now. A man I love to have back on the show, but he's talking about it. Me and him talked about it yesterday on the phone as well. And I think it's an interesting point he brings up in the chat right now, that it's not only going to help the young guys, like the point that I just brought up, but it's also going to help the secondary in a similar way that solid players, proven players in a pass rush help the secondary. It's he's calling it the Micah effect in Micah Parsons, when Micah Parsons just got shipped to Green Bay is kind of what he's relating it to there. But you have this effect of, it's a symbiotic, it's a team sport, obviously. I'm saying obvious facts with that, but it's a team sport. It's a symbiotic relationship that you are going to have on the field between your defensive backs and your pass rush. So if you could have a player like a Minkah Fitzpatrick there on your defense, it's going to affect the pass rush. It's going to make it's going to make especially young quarterbacks maybe think twice to throw into that side that Minkah slides down on, or that he's over the top on, that he has more experience making these plays, being a ball hawk type of player that he has been in the past, that he can help, have a quarterback maybe hold on the ball for that extra second that a member of this Jets pass rush can maybe get to. A young Avril Reese that they may bring in through the draft can now get a few more sacks. And, I do find it interesting that you haven't seen an attack at the pass rush yet. They did bring in David Onyemata, who I have seen plenty of times. I've watched him through a lot of his career. He's a former Saint and went from the Saints to the Falcons, so I played him twice a year. He is somebody who's able to get sacks from the defensive tackle position, similar to like how Giants fans see it. Dexter Lawrence. David Onyemata is not as good as a Dexter Lawrence. I'm not saying he's going to be your lead sack type of dude, but David Onyemata is a 5-6 sack dude who makes an impact on the middle of the line. You bring back a player like Demario Davis, who's another veteran in that locker room. Led a Saints team in tackles at the age that he is at, coming back to New York. He's led the Saints in tackles so many seasons now. Now you bring him back into that New York locker room. Again, a type of player that Aaron Glenn would love to have in the locker room to not only just make an impact on the field, but he's going to be a great locker room leader. He's been a captain for most of his career, was a captain when he left the Jets in that locker room. Was a captain for the Saints for the past I think it was 4 or 5 seasons. It's off. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 off the top of my head for some odd reason. But for the past, 4 or 5 years, he's been a captain for the Saints as well, and been one of their leading tacklers, if not their leading tackler, every single season. So bringing a player like that type of leader into the locker room as well as a Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think is huge for a New York Jets team that, like I said, they have an abundance of draft choices. They are either going to trade them and bring in pieces now, or it looks like what they're going to do is bring in some of these older pieces who are on their way out, who can help these younger guys develop into stars, who can show these guys the type of work that it takes behind the scenes to win football games and become all pros and become pro bowlers or whatever your accolade goals are. Because the one thing I will say that I will point out about at least the 2 veterans that have brought into this locker room now is they're not winning veterans, which I will point out, which is a little bit interesting. Minkah hasn't really won much. Demario Davis has not really won anything as well with New Orleans. So you definitely have that situation where, like, you don't have much there between the 2 squads. But, I didn't see this alert. Speaking of the Jets bringing in Geno Smith, which, okay. Not a bad choice. I'll be honest. I'm seeing a lot of my friends right now are going off in the group chat, like Vin and stuff. It is going off in the group chat about 0-17, all of this. I think the only 2 choices for the New York Jets this season were Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins. I didn't see a lot of options out there. You weren't going to bring in a Malik Willis, because if you were coming, you saw the contract that Malik just got from Miami. It was 3 years, $62.5 million. You're not. That's a commitment to Malik Willis's future. And once I said it like that to my friend who was a Jets fan, he immediately got off the Malik Willis trade. A 3-year deal like that is obviously a $60 million deal, is a commitment to Malik Willis. They weren't going to do that. The Jets were committing to drafting a quarterback next season. They knew they couldn't get someone at 2. They didn't have the opportunity at Mendoza, and they had to go out there and get one of these transitional guys. Your options were Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins. Those were your 3 options. And do I really think that Geno Smith is a bad option for this Jets locker room? I'm going to be honest. I don't think he is at all. I mean, I'm gonna try to get a little bit of view here as I type something up real quick. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily feel that it's that bad of a move for the New York Jets. Geno Smith has been a dude who revitalized his career after leaving New York. The first time he's now returning. Obviously, everybody remembers Geno Smith's time back in New York, back in 2013, and it was a disaster, as the Jets still are now. It was an absolute disaster. But I think Geno Smith is not that same player. I think the Geno Smith of old that was on the Jets, when you look back at it, was a very young dude who did not really know how to protect the football as well as he does now. I mean, I am saying that about the dude who led the league in interceptions last year, yes. But my point is if the Jets can do what they need to do, if you could bring back Elijah Vera Tucker, who, yes, is not healthy all year, but it is a very, very, very good pass protector when he is healthy. If you can, maybe draft a wide receiver as well. You have Garrett Wilson, you have Brees Hall. If you can maybe bring in a Makai Lemon at 16, or one of these other dudes, Romeo Dobbs to New England. I love that move. We'll talk about that one in a second when I'm done here talking about the Jets and Geno Smith. But if you bring in a young wide receiver, a second piece for Geno Smith, you bring back Elijah Vera Tucker, I don't think I think Geno Smith puts the Jets exactly where you would want him to put you. No. I think that he puts you to I think he puts you at a ceiling of 6 wins. I think Geno Smith to the Jets puts you at a ceiling of 6 wins. But like I said, when you look at the pieces there, I think a ceiling of 6 wins for the Jets isn't necessarily bad. I know you want to go 0-17 if you're, or some of the fans want to go 0-17, and you need to bring in a young quarterback. But you look at some of these older drafts, the number 1 pick isn't always the first quarterback to go win a Super Bowl. The number 1 pick isn't always the best quarterback from those drafts. As long as you scout well and know what you really need to do right now, you can still get that guy at 5 or 6, depending on the draft class next year. You know, that draft class next year does look very deep. If you could get Lenoris Sellers to see how he plays back healthy, possibly for a full season. You have Archie Manning, who is the highest taught out prospect, ever. A lot of people thought he was going to win the Heisman this year, and everybody has him doing it now next year. You have Trinidad Shambles, who seems that he has a lot of potential and could possibly be a pro quarterback. And not only that, if the Jets really want to, you have potential later in this draft in a Cade Klubnik, in, if he falls to the second round, a Ty Simpson. You have a lot of room here for the Jets to still bring in a young guy to sit behind Geno maybe for a year, or bring in a young guy next year and let him watch the game and develop that, which is the method that I love to do, that seems to be proven time and time again is the method to do. Even Jackson Dart, you got to sit a dude for a little while. And now, whether it's 6 games, whether it's 16 games, that's different for every quarterback. But when I bring it up again, you look at Geno Smith and the Jets right now. You have Garrett Wilson. You just tagged Brees Hall. If you could bring back in a player, like I said, like Elijah Vera Tucker, you could bring in another weapon through maybe the draft or free agency, like a Makai Lemon. I would say like a Romeo Dobbs, but it seems he is now a New England Patriot. So, but you bring in a second weapon to help Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall. You have Braylon Allen on a contract year, who's coming back for a full healthy season, and you've now brought in these teams defensively. So I think there's a ceiling of 6 wins for this Jets team, is how I genuinely feel about that. I'm not going to lie. I think there's a full feeling of 6 wins for that Jets team, but I still would have them on the side of winners of this offseason. I think they have made the exact moves that you should expect them. That if you wrote down what you thought the Jets offseason should be, I think is exactly what they've been doing. DC versus Brock Lesnar at UFC White House. Oh my God. What is this? 2012? If that was real news, if I get an alert on my phone that that's real, I don't believe that. I'm not gonna. That'd be insane. Imagine those old. I don't know who UFC fan is, but I like that in the chat. We're going to talk about that White House card in a little bit because, as I said at the top of the show, man, no, I thought you were joking, UFC fan. Don't worry. I thought you were joking. I imagined it for a second. Could you imagine? But, yeah, no John Jones, no Conor McGregor on that card hurts. I mean, yeah, I guess Dana told us the whole time. He said in the press conference, I told you the whole time there was going to be no John Jones. And I know that, yeah, Jones isn't reliable. I get why he was scared to put John on the card. But do any of us really believe that Cyril Gane is going to beat Alex Pereira? Like, does anybody in their heart of hearts believe that Cyril Gane is going to beat Alex Pereira? Man, you just missed my whole rant about Gino to the Jets. That's why I told y'all in a group chat real quick. That's why I hopped on the group chat to tell y'all, come on, bro. You guys got to hop in a chat with that type of stuff, you know? Come on, bro. I know y'all enjoy the log show. You gotta get in a chat with that type of stuff, man. But, yeah, nah, Joey Snacks, you should be mad at Vin. He missed the episode last week when you were the guest. You guys got beef, bro. I'm exposing Vin live on air. Live on air. I'm starting chat beef live on air, guys. Live on the log show, chat beef. I'm starting it. Brandon Marshall out of retirement. That's also a good one. Bro, I don't know about Gane is bigger in power. Like, Gane is bigger, yeah, but I don't think that Gane has more power. I think letting Alex Pereira, like, first of all, every time Alex Pereira has gotten heavier, he seemed to have gotten stronger. I feel a lot of people said the same when he went up to light heavyweight to fight Yuri. I said it when he went up to light heavyweight to fight Yuri. And he looked huge. He looked great. He looked comfortable. He's just going to look more comfortable at heavyweight. Now, I do think that there's the opportunity that with Cyril Gane, we haven't really seen it in the UFC, and there's the whole thing that had happened when when Ngannou out wrestled him. I think a lot of the confidence went out the window. But I think that, like, I think that, like, if Gane can use the weight advantage that he will, like, there will be somewhat of a weight advantage, I think, out of Cyril Gane. I'm not going to deny that. But I think that if Gane can use that weight advantage to take down Pereira, which is the one place we've never seen Alex Pereira, which a lot of people have said is his one weakness, and I think everybody knows it's his one weakness. If Cyril Gane can be the one person to get inside the void against Alex Pereira, to get close enough and get that takedown without getting caught, then yes, I think he has a fight, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just too bought into the hype of Alex Pereira, but I don't think so, man. I think there's other people. But I mean, I know he's the number one contender and all that, but, like, you know what I'm like. No, I'm getting back to. I'll get back to football, Joe. I'll get back on football. I just, I like to talk to everyone in my chat. I like to talk to everyone. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the card. I don't hate the card. You know, I love Mauricio Rufy versus Michael Chandler. I think that was gonna. I think that was the fight that was maybe supposed to be Conor. And then just Conor's unreliable. I wanted Conor on the card. I thought John Jones was going to be on that card. I'll be honest. I thought John Jones was going to be there, but Conor not on the card. Disappointing, not surprising type of deal. Alec Pierce, though, Joe, yeah, I mean, I think he deserves the money. No? I think Alec Pierce deserved the money. I think when we go back, like, you know, I think this offseason's been interesting already. One big team I want to talk about definitely in that whole back to the winners and losers. The Raiders, man. The Raiders are making good moves, man. I really enjoy what the Raiders are doing. Obviously you need a quarterback, and it all depends on how Mendoza plays. But bringing in someone like Linderbaum, is great. Well, not Joe. That's that's what you got to remember. Like at the end of the day, it's just who's due. He was due. Like he's just due. It's kind of how it happens, and I think it was, that we haven't really seen what could happen with Alec Pierce. I think he has shown an immense amount of potential, and especially the connection he had with Daniel Jones last year during those first 9 games was exceptional. It was an exceptional connection that they had. And he was not yet the focal point of the offense, is my point here, Joe. That's where I was getting to. He has a lot of potential. I think he can play up to that money. I do think Alec Pierce could play up to that money. I'm not lying. I think he's shown a lot of potential, and he's yet to be the focal point of the offense, but I think that Daniel Jones and him had an insanely good amount of chemistry, and they just traded Pittman to Pittsburgh, and they're committing to him now. He's now the top wide receiver in their offense. You know what I'm saying? Like with no Pittman there, he's the top receiver there. And look at the splits. That's what I mean too. Like look at the splits there. I'm pretty sure they tagged Daniel Jones, did they not? I mean, he's not going to be healthy more likely than not week 1. Oh, no, he was not tagged. They were going to, and then they didn't. They put the transition tag on him. That's what it was. So they did tag him. They just put the transition tag on him. They put a different tag on him. I mean, yeah. I guess that plays a part in it. They don't have a quarterback. But I think that's a very, very, very interesting situation. I mean, Joe, I'm about to rage bait you in a second because I think the Packers have had a terrible offseason. And I was just about to get into the losers, and I'm not going to say that the Saints haven't. Um, the Saints have made stupid moves as well. I think the Saints are they're making moves. Oh, what's the transition tag? I thought you were. I don't know. I forgot. You're not caught up. The transition tag is more for extensions, so it's not really. It's not like the franchise tag where it's higher pay and it's more restrictive and all of that. Where the sorry, I'm reading up on it to make sure I know. I'm double checking, but the transition tag is pretty much just cheaper. Um, and it doesn't lock them into a contract, or with the franchise tag you can't negotiate, you can't leave with the exclusive franchise tag. The transition tag you can still negotiate and leave. You know what I mean? If someone offers you more money, is the main difference is between the two for you guys out there listening. But back to what I was saying, going on to the losers now. Saints and Packers actually are two of my biggest losers. I think there's a lot of mid-tier teams, a lot of teams that haven't really made moves. I think a lot of teams are making good moves. I'm not going to lie. I'm a fan of a lot of the moves that teams are making. But to end what I'm really saying here about the offseason, because I want to get into some other things that are going on. Yeah. I think the Packers just lost a lot of key pieces defensively, Joe. I think if you want to say what you can in the chat when it catches up, but like I think the loss of you lose Quay Walker, you lose Rashawn Gary, you trade him to the Cowboys. Kingsley Ellersby, who Ellersby wasn't like this insanely top player, but he was definitely a key part of the pass rush for the Packers last. So like, I do like the Zaire Franklin move, and I do think that was to bring in a cheaper version of Quay Walker, but I don't know if he's at the talent yet of Quay Walker. I think he could fit that role perfectly, and he can be at the talent of Quay Walker, but it's really to see how that goes. It's more of the front four that I'm concerned about for the Green Bay Packers now, outside of Micah Parsons and what's his name, and Lucas Van Ness. You know, and Lucas Van Ness, they both need to stay healthy. Both of them don't stay healthy out of Van Ness and Micah Parsons. So I don't see the Packers attacking positions that need to be filled. I think the Packers should have went out there and tried to go get a DB, and they haven't. I think you could go use a dude to help Josh Jacobs, maybe take a little bit of pressure off his back. But exactly. Nah, what you just said in the chat is pretty much how I feel about the Packers. I'm not a fan of the moves, but they're moves that we could see how they work out. See, like, that's a signing I would love. I would love for them to go out and get Trey Hendrickson. I would absolutely love for them to go out and get a player like Trey Hendrickson, because that helps, if they want to spend the big money on a pass rusher, that helps a Lucas Van Ness and a Micah Parsons stay healthy, because they don't have to be on the field as much. You could have Trey Hendrickson play those run downs as well. You know what I mean? But we'll see how Green Bay does. The Saints as well. I'll go on my rant about the New Orleans Saints as a Saints fan and just get all the emotions out. Don't get me wrong. The signings are flashy, man. It's flashy. Travis Etienne. Oh, let's go get a new starting right guard. Oh, yeah. Bro, Alante Taylor, gone. Our leading tackler, Demario Davis, gone. Saints legend, our leading sack leader, a man whose jersey I would hang above my head on this goddamn show, has not been extended, nor does it seem like he is coming back. And what do? What? You go get Alvin Kamara's replacement when he hasn't retired yet? And you have Kendre Miller and 4 other running backs in that room? Chris Olave needs help because you traded Raheem Shaheed. Nah, we don't need a receiver. We better draft one. The inside of our O-line wasn't a problem last year. Don't get me wrong. Alante Taylor wasn't great. I complained about Alante Taylor a lot. But it doesn't seem like you're going out there and getting a DB, and you let your best DB walk. And I get it. I'm not going to be happy every offseason. And I get it. We've been in cap hell for a while. There's not a lot of moves we can make. There's a lot of restructuring that has to be done. And we kicked the can down the line for so long. It's biting us in the ass. Slowly but surely, it's biting us in the ass. But still, man, I thought I was going to have to deal with this for a long time. I did not expect us to have a quarterback for a long time. And it feels like you found something special in Tyler Shook. He's a dude who is a grinder. He is a dude who won the most games out of any rookie quarterback last year. He was arguably Rookie of the Year. Don't get me wrong, Titaro McMillan had a great year, but he was by far, in my opinion, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Saints fan. He is, in my opinion, by far the best quarterback or a rookie quarterback last season. He was better than Shedeur. He was better than Dart. He was. And the proof is in the pudding. He won more games. You found something. You found it. He's on a rookie deal. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It makes absolutely zero sense to me. You go get Travis Etienne after last year Alvin Kamara said that if you trade him, he's going to go be on a beach in Cancun. You're now going to force him there? And I don't feel like we needed a guard, but yeah, he's good. I'm blanking on the guy's long-ass name right now from Buffalo, but... But Joe, that's my point. With what defense? You could go score 28 points and you could go have 6 touchdowns and score 42 points. They're going to give up 50. The only way that the ETN signing is even okay is if Kamara has already gone to Saints front office and said that he is retiring. If he had already come out and said he was retiring. Because this is different than bringing in a Jeremiah Love. This is no, but that's what I mean, Joe. You're saying looking at it the wrong one. I mean, 2 to 3, like for the next 2 to 3 years. That's why you bring in a dude like a Jeremiah Love. You bring in someone young. You bring in the kid from Arkansas. You don't bring Travis Etienne, who in 3 years you're going to need another replacement for. You had another year of Kamara. At least 7 games of it if you brought in a Jeremiah Love at 8. Especially with the Chiefs going to get Kenneth Walker. He was going to fall in your damn lap at 8. And he could have split carries like Mark did with Kamara when Kamara came in. Just like Ingram did when Kamara came in. You have him be a committee as Kamara gets old, as his body starts to hurt because it already hurts. And you let him retire on his terms. And then you have Jeremiah Love, who learned how to be that same running back and that same star player. But no, you go out there and bring in ETN. What are you doing? What are you doing, Mickey? What are you doing? I mean, because I brought it up before, I guess I'll run through this White House card now. I got like 10, 20 minutes left. Ilya Gaethje. I don't even know. I need to move on from the Saints. I'm just frustrated now. You know what? Instead of talking about the White House card, I already talked about that a little bit. I'll talk about the Big East tournament. St. John's, number 1 seed. Right now, I believe... If I check the betting odds, I want to say that UConn is still more likely than not the favorite to win the tournament betting-wise. As I scroll through CBS here to get it, yeah, I think that is the sleeper too. I agree with that. St. John's right now at plus 210 to win the Big East tournament, whilst UConn is the favorite at minus 125. But man. I think if you like betting on a small bet at plus 300, boy, is St. John's the place to go. Because I think this team is hot. And I think, all right, I'm gonna look into the camera when I say this. It's gonna be a crazy sentence. I think St. John's going up to Storrs, Connecticut, going to UConn, and getting the break speed off of them, and not being able to hit water out of a boat in that second half is the best thing to happen. And the reason why is because over the past 2 to 3 seasons, 2.5 now, practically three full regular seasons. The one thing I've learned while getting into college basketball with the experiences that I had back at St. John's with the student radio and calling games and that Providence game last season especially, is Rick Pitino is amazing at taking those negative moments and using them to motivate his players, to motivate these young men to go play their hearts out for the rest of the season, for the rest of the game, for whatever it is that needs to be done. And I think that 20-point loss, that almost 40-point loss to Connecticut, after beating them in the Garden, now coming to the Big East tournament in our home arena, in Madison Square Garden, on Broadway, where we have been loading MSG up for these big matchups over the past 2 seasons. People love Pitino in New York. St. John's is back. Dan Hurley even joked about it. As much as I make fun of the guy and I hate the guy as a way that you hate Tom Brady and you hate Bill Belichick. That's the way I hate Dan Hurley. I'll admit that. I'll be a man and admit that. I hate Dan Hurley because he wins. He does cry a lot, and that pisses me off too. Someone said it best. I think it was a CBS bracketology podcast. Someone said it best when he got thrown out with 0.4 seconds. If you flip that call on its head and it's Marquette driving and the foul is called, Dan Hurley's still in the ref's face getting thrown out of that game. That's just who Dan Hurley is. But I think that St. John's should be the favorite to win this tournament. I genuinely do. I think in MSG, I think they're motivated. I think UConn feels entitled to win this championship. I think Dan Hurley feels entitled. After those back-to-back championships, I think he has begun to feel entitled, like he deserves to win a championship. And he deserves to have this favoritism because he's a back-to-back champion. But I think on the other side, you have, Zuby Ejiofor, Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins, Osiah Sellers, Ruben Prey. You have a lot of deep pieces on this St. John's team that, man, if they get going, I genuinely think that they are. I think when they play their best basketball, I genuinely think that St. John's is a top 10 team in this country. I genuinely believe it. I think they're better than UConn. I think they're better than a lot of the teams out there right now. And I think they're going to go on a run this year. I think last year was a year to prepare them and take a breath. Last year was magical. And it ended abruptly. And I think that also is motivating some of these returning dudes like a Zuby Ejiofor, like a Ruben Prey. You even have the locker room guys like Sabine. You got a team here. I think this team is more equipped than last year's team to go on a run and possibly make the Final Four or Elite Eight. I have them in the Elite Eight. I'll genuinely say that. I think they're getting bounced in the Elite Eight, but no sooner, no later. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion on St. John's, man. But yeah, I mean, a lot going on. We got WBC. That's been fun, man. As I wrap things up here, it is 2:56, but man, WBC has been fun. USA 3-0. Fun game against Mexico last night where Judge had an insanely good third inning. You saw those two insane plays by Bobby Witt. Both of those diving plays were absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I mean, last night did feel like, as much as it felt like USA Mexico, it did low-key feel like USA versus Jared Duran. Jared Duran had a game, 2 home runs, but yeah, I mean, what absolute fun this WBC has been to watch. Japan has been playing exceptionally well. The Dominican Republic, you know, as they say, you guys are going to hate my accent there. That was a bad accent. I apologize if I offended anyone with that. I'm actually going to come out right now and say I apologize. That was bad. But you know, as they like to call, they're calling Austin Wells over there Dominican Poppy. So shout out Austin Wells and shout out the Dominican team. They're having fun over there. Yeah, Puerto Rico. It's going to be a fun little ending here about Puerto Rico to this WBC. It's going to be a fun ending here. This Team USA has been hot. Paul Skeens looked amazing yesterday. I was obsessed with it. But yeah, yeah, and then UFC White House, man. UFC White House was announced where main event Ilya Gaethje I think should be a good one. I've been seeing memes online. I love the meme online where it was that one video. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's the dude who does the J. Cole and LeBron videos. He met LeBron. I can't remember the guy's name. It's not Gideon. It's the other guy. But it was like Gaethje's camp preparing for Ilya Taporia, and he put a gun on the table. It was like, what's this? It was like, it's the only way to win. Ilya does feel like he's that hot right now. Ilya does feel like he is that on fire right now as we get into this White House card. So that fight's going to be exciting to watch. Not only that fight, obviously I went on about Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane, where I feel like Alex Pereira. I'm not a big Cyril Gane guy. I feel like every time he's been in a big moment, he's looked like an absolute dud. Francis Ngannou looked like a dud. John Jones looked like a dud. Like, I feel like every time he's put up against these big guys, he just looks terrible. Sean O'Malley versus Armenian Zahabi. That one should be a good one. Rufy, Michael Chandler, Bo Nickel, Kyle Dawkins, Diego Lopez, Steve Garcia. I think it's a great card, but I agree with the sentiment that, you know, UFC Guru was the first person I saw bring this up on Twitter, and I feel like a lot of people agree with him and brought it up in their own videos on TikTok and stuff like that. It just doesn't. The problem that I have with the UFC White House card is it seemed like these numbered events and these past few fight nights had been suffering from being able to be super deep. And a lot of us, I think, felt like that was because, okay, they're saving all these huge fights, Conor, John, Ilya. And obviously it was excitement, and a lot of it was fantasy and us being way too excited. But you felt like they were keeping a lot of these cards for the UFC White House event, and what you saw was they were not. They just weren't. This didn't feel like this insanely deep card that they were saving all of these fights that could have been co-main events and could have been big fights for. It feels like a good card, a deep card, but no deeper than some of the bigger events that UFC has done. No bigger than a UFC Noche or some of those really deep cards that I've seen the UFC do before. So I don't really feel like it's this big shocker. I think the big shocker is in the news lines or in the headlines of, you know, Pereira trying to go up, Bo Nickel being an American gold medal wrestler, Diego Lopez being the stud he is, and he's a big name, so squeezing him onto the card was probably a big deal. Sean O'Malley, a big name, getting on the card. Again, against a guy who I feel like I don't know a lot about Zahabi, so I'll be honest, I can't say that I think that's going to be a cakewalk for Sean, because I haven't watched the film yet. I'm not close enough to the event to have watched the film. Um, but learning of the card, I've started to dig into some of the fighters that I don't know as well. But yeah, that's my big sentiment on it. Is it just felt like they were saving everything big for this card, and it doesn't feel like it was what we were all expecting, and that kind of hurts. It does. But yeah. Um, to end the episode, it's 301. I got some top 75 packs. There's a big Mickey Mantle in these packs that is the big puller. So I'm going to get these open. I don't like how Topps packages this box here. It feels oddly difficult. Like there's no like tucking. I guess you open them from the bottom here. That's odd to me. That's odd. Here, as I open the box, I'll start to fix the camera so you guys can see. So here we go. Top 75 box here has 59 cards, as they are not individual packs, so I'm just opening the cards straight here. Here, let me get the camera here. Nice slow zoom for you guys. A nice, whoa, let's get it on 2 times. Let's get it right there for you guys. A little bit closer here on the set. Let me know if you guys would like it. Maybe I'll start running the camera a little bit closer on portrait mode. And we'll start running it like this. If you guys like this look, let me know. Especially my friends. So here we are, top 75. Some big cards that we are looking for. In this pack, if it doesn't say, I'll Google it real quick. I know there's a big Mickey Mantle in here that everybody is looking for. Tops 75 baseball card set. All right. Ooh, there's an ESPN article on it that might give me some of the big cards on here. Hank Aaron, Ken Griffey, Shohei, Aaron Judge are all on the cover. All aces, all kings, and heavy lumber inserts is what we're looking for. A lot of parallels. Sorry, I'm trying to get an actual checklist up here that they have. Here we go. I got the Topps website. No checklist on the website. Here we go. You got some mascot cards, some variations that are available. All right, let's just get this package open. Let's just get these open. Let's have some fun and get these open. Some of these look cool. Like, there's an Ellie on this page right here that I'm looking at that looks really, really, really dope. So we'll get that going. Got some stars at the back. Maybe there's an insert or two in here. I don't feel it. It doesn't look like anything is thicker than usual. As I look at the top of this, there's some stars in the back. But here we go, guys, with the top 75 2026 Series 1 box. Here you go if you want to look at that there. Maybe I should turn this off portrait mode for these, because these might get zoomed out. So I'll turn off portrait mode so you guys can see the box now. There you go. Top 75. It's the Series 1 of the this year's baseball cards. Starting with some Victor Scott. We got the Rangers. All right, nice Rangers team card. Garrett Crochet. Star Red Sox pitcher there. Got Bryce Terang. Member of Team USA, who's been having a great day. I agree, Chris. I would like to maybe get a card camera. Luke Keeschel. Ooh, we got a nice little batting average card that maybe we see how this one turns out. But this one is Aaron Judge, Bo Bichette, and Jacob Wilson, the two leaders of Let me know in the chat. I just got a text that you guys might not be able to see what I'm doing. Chris, can you see what I'm doing? Can you let me know real quick before I continue to go through these cards? Oh, yeah, Vin, we are in the pack opening. Jeffrey Springs, Clay Holmes for you guys here. We got Kumar Rocker. Ooh, I'm in love with this next card. We might get this graded, put this on the set. This one's going upstairs. We got the 3 Yankees All-Stars from last season. They're called the Bronx Buddies card. I love this card. As a Yankee fan, I'm in love with this one. You got Fried, Rodon, and Judge on that baby. We got a Grant Holmes here. We got my man Giancarlo. Love a good Giancarlo Stanton card. Yankel Fernandez. You got Chad Patrick. We got Topps All-Star Rookie card. We got standout wide receiver. Standout outfielder for the Marlins, Jacob Maurice. Right there. You got that little All-Star patch in the bottom too. We got Cody Freeman rookie card. We got a nice Trevor Rogers on the Orioles right there. Christopher Sanchez. Colston Montgomery. Max Schumann. Hey, we're talking about Maxes, right? Another Yankee pulled here. Good old Max Fried. Good old Max Fried right there. We got Christian Moore. We got another Mariners team card here. Another team card, a little special card. It's called You See That. Cal Raleigh, and it looks like Julio Rodriguez. Giving each other a nice high five there. That's a nice looking card. We got Shea Langoliers. Ronnie Mauricio. Jack Caglione. Another rookie card here. And another All-Star rookie in athletics. Shortstop Jacob Wilson here. That's another nice card we got here. Francisco Alvarez. Roman Anthony. Another All-Star rookie. Another member of Team USA here. Baseball BFFs card of the Cubs here. Got PCA and Seiya Suzuki. Zach Neto. Caleb Durbin is next. Another All-Star rookie in Austin Ramirez, guys. Austin Ramirez. And we got the National League leaders as well. So we got both American League and National League leaders, as this one's Trey Turner, Nico Horner, and Freddie Freeman, who all led the National League last season in batting average. We got Spencer Strider. Dane Myers. Lucas Goglito. We got a nice New York Mets team card here for your Mets fans. Matt Olson. Carlos Navarez of the Boston Red Sox. We got Matt Strahm. No parallels or anything like that yet, which I'm kind of surprised about as we get to the end here. Otto Kemp, rookie card from the Philadelphia Phillies. Leonan Sosa. Stephen Kolek. Right there. Kansas City Royals pitcher. Blue Jays pitcher Lorenzo Estrada. And now we get down to the nitty-gritty, folks, where the packs start to get good. Some of these is backwards as we come up here. We got Gavin Williams as we speed run the last normal ones. Logan Gilbert. Alex Freeland. Rookie card. We got Rafi Devers. Chris Bubick. And to end the normal cards, Eric Lauer. Now our first big card. Greatest hits, Mike Trout. Ooh, this is a nice looking card, folks. Got greatest hits, Mike Trout right here. From June 28th, 2025. Hit a home run, started a comeback win that day, it said. Fan of that one. All right, we got this one's upside down here. Ooh, a Detroit Tigers team card, a parallel, a diamond. Ooh, a nice diamond parallel there for the Detroit Tigers. And here's the Pedro Pagas parallel. Another diamond parallel for Pedro Pagas. Ooh, that one's nice and shiny if you guys could see that on the camera. Oh, what a nice pull. Top 75, O'Neal Cruz. This is a gorgeous card, man. Looks like a throwback card. It's O'Neal Cruz, one of my favorite players that I have seen. But, man, what a card here. I love how this one looks. If you guys could get a peek at that. Looks like a card from the original 1975 packs that these are being the anniversary of, or 75 years anniversary. And here we are to end the parallels. We start here. You guys saw me move them around a little bit. There's a shocker at the end. I'm keeping that one for the end. We got Stars Christian Yelich. Okay. We got a U.S. Stars. It looks like USA Stars, but a Stars rookie card, Roman Anthony. Oh, my God. Could the next parallel star not have been better? This was not the one that I was trying to prepare for. But it is no more perfect than I pull this star in my first Topps pack of the year. Aaron Judge, parallel star. I don't know. This card could be worth 20 cents, and I don't care. I am so happy that I just pulled this Aaron Judge parallel. This is a gorgeous card. My favorite player in baseball right now. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Stars of MLB parallel card right there. And to end it, we have a Titans of the Game, Ellie De La Cruz. This one is gorgeous, man. This is going in a sleeve top loader immediately. If you guys could get a peek at this. I'm going to zoom in actually a little bit to get a better look at this one, guys. If you guys can see that. Look how gorgeous this card is. That's the big pull of the pack, man. Woo! What a pack opening. I'm actually really happy with those top 75 packs. As baseball season really gets going, guys, we are going to really get into it. I mean, we're really going to be opening these. So keep an eye for these top 75 these Topps 2026 packs. You guys see the egg on the set here. They have special Easter sets that we will be doing. I'll be opening this Easter egg very, very soon. There are more. I'll probably get more as Easter season happens. This might be the streak for the month of March until Easter season, or until Easter hits. We might only open Easter eggs is what I was kind of thinking. If you guys like a little Easter egg hunt for the month of March, this will be the first one next week. But yeah, it's 3:15. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you everybody who tuned in. Even some new people in the chat. Chris, thank you for tuning in. I saw you last week. Joe, I know you couldn't be on, But thank you for being in the chat, Vin, you too. Thank you, everybody who tuned in today. I had such a fun time opening the packs with y'all, talking in the chat with y'all. Always have a great time. I like running this more like a radio show than I do a podcast. But speaking of podcasts, I'm downloading this tonight. Check Apple Music, check Spotify. Podcasts will be on Apple Music and Spotify. Hopefully tonight, if not by tomorrow morning. Content coming out, YouTube. I might be starting some other podcast or some other shows, maybe adding more content to the channel, even though I only have the 79 subscribers. I would love to get more people involved. I love having people on, and having Joe on last week was a big thing for me to realize that as much as I like to sit here and my family loves to tell me I love to hear myself talk, and I can rant for hours and hours and hours, especially about NFL, MLB, UFC, about sports, but it's so much more fun to have someone else in here to talk to, and I love planning that out with everyone. So thank you so much, everyone tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe to the channel, like the live. Everyone goes follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, both of which are at The Log Show, and I will see everybody next week. Peace.